The truth stings a little. Your fridge is cold, your packaging is sealed, your bacon still dies in 5 days. Meanwhile, a medieval farmer with no electricity, no plastic and no preservatives could hang meat in a shed and eat it 3 years later. That's not nostalgia. That's mastery. And once you understand what they were really doing, you'll never look at expiry dates the same way again. Welcome back to Ancient Roots Uncovered. Today we're cutting into one of the most misunderstood survival arts in history. Not recipes, not cute traditions, real preservation science built from smoke, wind, bacteria, time and discipline. Let's go straight to the heart of it. The real enemy was never time. Meat doesn't rot because it gets old. It rots because microscopic life takes over. Bacteria need moisture, they need warmth, they need oxygen. Medieval people didn't fight time, they starved microbes. They built systems that stripped meat of the 3 things decay depends on: water, air, heat. When those disappear, rot doesn't just slow down, it stops. This is why medieval meat lasted years, not days. Drying wasn't casual, it was surgical. When people hear air-dried meat, they imagine strips hanging in the sun. That's a modern cartoon. Medieval drying was controlled dehydration. Fresh meat was cut thin to expose maximum surface area. It was then hung in places with constant airflow. Not random breezes, predictable drafts, smokehouses, lofts, rafters, open sheds built to channel wind. Over weeks, sometimes months, moisture was steadily pulled out. Not cooked out, drawn out. Bacteria cannot function without free water. As moisture dropped, microbial life collapsed. The meat became biologically hostile. This wasn't jerky. This was engineered dryness. By the time the process finished, the meat wasn't fresh. It was stable. Smoke was preservation, not flavour. Today, smoke is about taste. Back then, it was about chemistry. Wood smoke contains natural antibacterial compounds, phenols, organic acids, formaldehyde traces. These penetrate the meat's surface and create a hostile zone where microbes struggle to survive. But the real power of smoke was time. Meat wasn't blasted for hours. It was cold smoked for days or weeks. Low heat, constant exposure, slow absorption. While the smoke deposited protective compounds, the airflow continued drying the flesh. 2 weapons working together. Dehydration starved bacteria. Smoke poisoned them. The result was a surface that resisted mold, insects and rot, and an interior too dry for decay to begin. Fat was treated very differently. Fat is where spoilage loves to start. It traps moisture. It turns rancid. It feeds microbes. Medieval butchers knew this. They didn't leave thick, wet fat caps like modern meat processing doughs. They trimmed aggressively. What fat remained was often rendered out into tallow, then used to seal meat instead of sitting inside it. In some preservation methods, fully dried meat was packed into containers and submerged in melted fat. Once the fat cooled, oxygen was locked out. No air, no moisture, no bacterial activity. The meat wasn't exposed, it was entombed. This is centuries before anyone used the word anaerobic, yet they were already mastering it. Salt helped, but it wasn't the whole story. Contrary to popular belief, salt alone didn't make meat last years. Salt without drying often just creates salty rot. What salt really did was draw water out of tissue. It was a dehydration accelerator. It tightened muscle fibers. It reduced available moisture. It slowed enzymatic breakdown. But salt was almost always paired with wind, smoke, or aging. The power wasn't in the crystals. It was in the water removal. And here's the detail most people miss. Medieval salt curing took time, weeks, sometimes months. Modern bacon is injected in hours, quick cured. Water is added back in to increase weight and softness, which means microbes are invited back too. Your bacon is designed to be tender. Their meat was designed to survive. Aging created protective ecosystems. Not all microbes are enemies. When meat was hung long enough in the right conditions, beneficial molds and bacteria colonized the surface. They formed living rinds that, outcompeted dangerous organisms. These microbial shields consumed oxygen, stabilized pH, and produced natural antibiotics. The meat wasn't sterile, it was guarded. This is the same principle behind long-aged cheeses and fermented foods, a controlled biological takeover that locks out rot. Modern food culture honestly fears this. Medieval food culture directed it. Storage was as important as preparation. Preserved meat wasn't just tossed in random rooms. It was kept in environments engineered to stay cool, dry, and dark. Cellars were dug deep where temperature barely moved. Smokehouses were designed to breathe without letting rain in. Lofts were raised above ground moisture and pests. Insects were blocked. Sunlight was limited. Airflow was constant. Preservation didn't end when the meat was done. It continued every single day it was stored. Why does your bacon fail so fast? Well, modern bacon is wet. It's pumped with brine. It's sealed in plastic where moisture can't escape. It's often only lightly smoked for flavour, not for preservation. It's kept cold, but cold doesn't kill microbes. It just slows them. The moment your bacon warms, sweats, or touches air, bacteria wake up in a moisture-rich paradise. Medieval meat had no paradise. It had no water, little oxygen, antimicrobial surfaces, stable temperatures. It wasn't protected by technology, it was protected by physics. The greatest difference isn't tools, it's goals. Modern food is built for speed, softness and shelf appeal. Medieval food was built for endurance. Every cut, every hang, every fire, every breeze was part of a system aimed at one thing, removing what decay needs to exist. They didn't ask, how do we make this taste good tomorrow? They asked, how do we make this edible in 3 winters? And they succeeded. Why this knowledge still matters. Understanding these methods isn't about cosplay history. It's about reclaiming food intelligence. Drying, cold smoking, aging fat sealing, airflow control, microbial management, these are not obsolete skills. They are, quite simply, biological truths, and they explain something modern life quietly hides. Your food spoils quickly not because the past was dirtier, but because the past understood decay better. If this opened your eyes, if it shifted how you see food, history or survival, then you're exactly why this channel exists. Subscribe to Ancient Roots Uncovered for more forgotten science, lost skills, and the deep logic of the old world. Share this with someone who still thinks medieval life was primitive, and I'll see you in the next uncovering.